All right, good afternoon. My name is Safavi, and I am the owner of the Safavi agency. And I am just putting together this quick overview for you because you have seen our ad online. You have applied to get some more information. And before you and I meet together, I want to be able to have this quick overview for you to be able to watch. Take notes, jot any questions down that come up for you so that when we have our time together, I can make sure to answer any questions that come up in terms of our agency, what we offer, and what it looks like to be a licensed broker with us. I am going to share my screen here in a moment, but before I do, I just want to take a moment to introduce myself. Like I said, my name is Anna Safavi. I am based over in Washington State. I've been married for about 15 years now. I have two kiddos, one in middle school, one in elementary school. It feels insane to me to be able to say that. And I have been running this agency from home. In fact, my office is about 10 steps behind my house, which is the biggest blessing. As you probably have already seen, this is a remote position, meaning that we have agents all across the United States. So, the Safavi agency is nationwide, all the way from Washington State over to Florida. And everybody gets to work remotely, be it in their home or if you're traveling or if you want to work from a coffee shop. If you choose to set up your own office somewhere, you get to decide, right? And the beautiful thing about this industry is it's changed so much since COVID happened here, a few years ago. Back in the day, brokers used to actually drive to people's homes, sit knee to knee, go over options and put their applications in, and actually mail them in or fax them in. Well, now since COVID, everything's moved online. And so, what that does for you as you're looking into this industry is it allows you two different things. One, it allows you to be able to work remotely, which is just huge for time management. And then two, it allows you to be able to use time zones to your advantage. So, for example, I'm over in Washington State, but a lot of my clients are actually over on the East Coast. And so for me, I'm able to utilize the fact that I'm a morning person. I'm most productive in the morning. And so that's when I am spending my time dialing my clients, running my appointments, and making sure that everything is taken care of. It also allows me to be able to have my evenings free to help my kids get to their clubs or their sports, be able to have dinner at the table, do the things that we want to do as a family. And so just to kind of give you a little bit of context into my vision for this agency and what I'm looking to grow and kind of who I'm looking for when you and I talk. Like I said, I run this agency. It is nationwide. And I foresee this agency growing to a over $15 million nationwide agency. Okay. And with that being said, I am looking to help 25 individuals grow and actually become owners of their own agencies, which is really, really exciting to me because here in our IMO, you actually have the opportunity to have success in two different ways. One is through production, where you're actually going to make most of your money on the way that you serve clients, putting those applications in, making sure that your clients have the coverage that they need to protect themselves and their loved ones, right? That's where you're going to get most of your income. And then secondary to that is if you decide that you want to grow something sustainable, long-term, passive income, where maybe 5, 10 years down the line, you're actually out of the field and your job is to really serve as that like coach, that mentor to pour back into those agents that are still getting started and need help. And so if that resonates with you, let's continue on. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and kind of do a little quick deep dive into our culture and a little bit about what we represent. So bear with me one moment while I get this all set up. Um, you can see here just really quick, this is my agency logo, which is something I loved being able to put together. If that's something you're looking to grow as an agency, man, putting that logo pen to paper was really, really exciting. Okay, so our four cornerstones to success. You're going to hear us talk about this often. And the reason behind this is the IMO that I'm partnered with is called Symmetry Financial. And at Symmetry, it is really, really important that we honor these four cornerstones. And what you're going to see, especially in coaching, especially in communication, is if you're ever like in a season of struggle, if you're ever like, oh man, I just feel stuck, we're going to come back to the four cornerstones and we're going to walk through each of them because I can promise you, I've been here long enough to know that I can promise you, if you feel stuck, one of these four items is not happening. And that's where we're going to pour our energy into. So, number one is belief in what you're selling, right? You have to have belief in this industry. The life insurance industry is one that truly changes lives. Unfortunately, I have had several friends who have been the recipients of life insurance. Two of my friends actually lost their spouses, one in their 30s, one in their 40s, both while raising young children. And so I have seen firsthand what that has done for their family to be able to have coverage in place. And it doesn't take away from the loss, but what it does do is it does give them an opportunity and space to grieve properly without a financial burden, right? I've also had friends that have been diagnosed with cancer and they've had policies that have had living benefits that have paid out to them upon a diagnosis. And I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but the reality is when somebody's diagnosed with cancer or they have a heart attack or a stroke, oftentimes finances become a really big burden while they're also going through treatment and trying to raise their family. And so the fact that we have policies that you can actually draw from with those living benefits is a huge, huge deal and one that I'm really, really proud of. The second thing is to work and counsel through MAC, which stands for Massive Action and Constant Correction. As a brand new agent here within our organization, my expectation is that you are going to come in and you are going to take massive action towards your goals. Okay. That means that you're going to be dialing a lot of clients. You're going to be having a lot of conversations. You're going to be asking a lot of questions and asking questions in a way where you're not worried about me getting annoyed or frustrated, anything like that. That's not on you. My job is to really make sure that I'm pointing you in the right direction. And the only way for me to be able to point you in the right direction is for you to ask questions so I know where you're at. Okay. And so we say massive action, but then you're also going to be constantly correcting, meaning if you run an appointment and you're like, gosh, dang it, like I screwed up in that one moment, what could I have done differently, right? We're going to walk through that together, figure out some little tweaks that we can do to help you become a better producer. Because at the end of the day, I want to help you win. Okay. Third is commitment to ongoing self-improvement. And that means a lot of different things to me. Number one, I think it's really, really important what we feed our body and how we move our body. Okay, so that means like thinking about how you're being active every day and how you're taking care of yourself. And then in addition to that, and what you'll hear us talk about often is what are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you learning in this season? And the reason I say that is because you're going to find as you grow in leadership and as you grow as an agent, it's really important that you are putting, good information into your mind, that you're learning, that you're leaning into the hard, that you're growing past different barriers that maybe stopped you before. And the only way that you can do that is by really investing in yourself, right? And then lastly, associate with the right people. Now, like I mentioned, this is a remote position, right? So I'm in an office literally 10 steps away from my house by myself. And I could imagine that if I didn't have that association, I would probably feel pretty lonely doing this. And so what I love is that we don't do this business together. And a couple examples of that for you is we actually have a virtual office. It's a Zoom room where we meet together and you're going to have live dialers. In fact, myself and two of my friends that are other agency owners, we dress up every single Tuesday. Today we were baseball players and we live dial for 60 minutes and unmute when we have somebody on the phone so that our agents can hear different voices and learn from us so that it can help you in your experience when you're dialing. I also want you to be able to participate in different huddles, to be able to get to know different people on your mentorship team. So not just me, but I'm going to have you in a text thread with a couple other agency directors and an equity partner for you to be able to ask questions and create that conversation so you don't feel like you don't know where to go. You're always going to have somebody that's going to be here to point you in the right direction. All right, so what do I look like, or what do I look like? There's that, but what do I look for when I am hiring? Okay. When I'm hiring somebody, there's a couple different characteristics that I am looking for that I find very, very valuable. Okay. Number one is going to be somebody who's ready to own their time and they're going to be willing to put in the work to grow on a daily basis. What I mean by that is we have been taught our whole life to go to school and we sit and we listen and we obey and we understand what the schedule is. And a lot of times as adults, we go back to that type of a schedule, right? Like this 9 to 5 where you're sitting all day, you feel like you have to just be in this space. But when you really look at it, how productive are you in those hours, right? And so for me, what I'm looking for is somebody that is really willing to come into their office on a daily basis and put in the work that is necessary, but to be really disciplined and really efficient with your time. Okay, I want to make sure that you are ready to ask questions and that you're eager and that you are excited. Two is that discipline in your schedule and that you are a person of your word. Okay. And I kind of just went over that, but really the discipline part hits home for me because it is something that you have to practice on a daily basis to have that discipline to show up, even on the days where you're like, oh gosh, it's so nice out. I could just go and do whatever. But I made a commitment to myself that I am going to end the week with 5,000, 10,000 APV submitted, and I haven't done that yet. You have to have the discipline to answer to yourself, really, right? Because you are your own boss here. Number three, somebody who's not afraid to ask questions and that you're able to get into the arena without knowing all the answers. I truly believe, as somebody who, I went to college, I sat in the auditoriums, I sat in the room, and I learned all of this information. But really, until I went into my career and I was actually in the arena learning among my peers, that's where the magic happens. And so I don't want you to train yourself out of business. I want you to come in. We're going to train together, but I want you to ask questions and just get in there and be afraid. Don't be afraid to do it messy because there's no way that you can mess up a policy here. We have a lot of different barriers in place to make sure that your clients are served properly. I promise you that. And then lastly, somebody who's competitive with themselves and knows that they're made for more. I found a lot of people that are athletes or that have had that competitive drive, be it in school or theater growing up. When you have that competitive spirit, you are naturally drawn to want to outdo yourself, right? Like if you have a really great week, one week, you know that the next week, you know what you're capable of and you want to go a little bit further. And you have this, compensation level where you're going to start at a certain percentage, but you're going to see what's possible. And I want you to compete with yourself to get yourself to the next level over and over and over again. And then steps to get hired on with us. So if you are already licensed, you and I are going to have a little bit of a different conversation in the sense of you will have already gone through the course. And so that's just going to be a matter of if it's the right fit. And if so, then I'm going to send you hire work and we're going to start your training process. Okay. But if you are not yet licensed, here's what that process looks like. And so there is an online course that I am going to be able to send you. There are several available online. The one that I recommend has a 97% pass rate first time. So that's going to be the one that I recommend to you for both your life and health license. Okay. I truly tell people don't live in the course. Again, I want you to be in the arena. So I want you to know enough to get your license and then let's pass that test and let's move on, right? So about 3 to 7 days. Then you're going to schedule your state exam. You're going to take that. You can usually either take it online or in person. From there, you're going to get your E&O license, which protects you as the broker. And then you're also going to get your AML certificate, which stands for anti-money laundering. Takes about 15 minutes. Super simple. Okay. From there, my operations manager, her name's Amy, she is going to send you contracting. Okay. So we're going to send you your hire paperwork, and then we're going to get you licensed and contracted with all of our carriers that we work with. Okay. So she's going to work with you on that while I'm working with you on the training and the sales. Okay. We have you starting dialing people right away. We're going to have you talk to friends and family. And we're going to get you on the phones and booking appointments within 2 to 3 weeks. Now, in terms of commission and contract level, this page is always really exciting, right? Because you're probably looking at this because you want to earn some income. If you weren't, that would be weird, right? So when I look at this page, what I see is opportunity and excitement. And so for me to just kind of go over this in like a quick fashion, I'm gonna try my best to keep it simple, okay? You're gonna start as a brand new agent at 80% contract level. Okay. Now you can see it's 80, 85, 90, 95, all the way up to 130. Okay. At 80%, that is where you're starting, but that is certainly not where you are finishing. And my friend, my hope is that your first 90 days that you are here, that you actually get yourself to 95% contract level. It's exactly what I did. And I know that you can do it as well. Okay. The way that you get yourself promotions in your contract level is through issued business. Issued business means that you wrote an application on somebody, that application was approved by the carrier, your client then paid their first premium, and now that policy is in place. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, we do write for several different carriers, and they are actually going to be the ones that pay you once that policy is issued. Okay. So what's really cool is that after you've been here for a while and you're writing multiple policies a week, you're actually getting deposits from different carriers, oftentimes, every day or multiple times a day, which is awesome. So I'm going to do my best to break down just kind of how the carriers pay out, to give you an idea of, what you can do here income wise. Okay. So you're going to see new agent at the 80%, right? And then you're going to see 85%, 2,500, 90%, 5,000, and then 95, 10,000. Okay. You're also going to see a darker blue under that slingshot, your comp, and you're going to see that those are higher levels. That's how you're going to go up in contract level on a monthly basis as compared to a 2-month basis. Okay. But here's the deal. What that stands for is APV. And APV stands for annual premium volume, meaning when I write a policy or an application on a client, my client is probably paying, let's say they're paying $80 a month, right? So you take that 80 times 12, and then that's going to be what we would refer to as their APV for their policy. How much are they spending on an annual basis to keep this policy in place? Okay. Now, when we look at the symmetry average, our average is about 1,000 to 1,200 per policy. I'm going to tell you something. You are going to write policies that are $400, right? It might be an accidental death. It might be for somebody really young, or it might be, for somebody that just has a really, really small policy. You're also going to write policies that are $3,000 or $4,000 APV. Okay. But on average, we would say it's about 1,000 to 1,200. Okay. For the sake of easy math, I'm going to break it down in the 1,000. Okay. So at an 80% contract level, if you're writing a full compensation product, you are going to get paid $80 or $800 on that policy. Okay. So 800 is 80% of that 1,000. Now, the way that the carriers pay out is they're going to give you a 75% advance, meaning they're going to pay you for 9 months of that policy up front. And then on the back end in months 10, 11, and 12, they're going to repay you those remaining months in an equal increment. Okay, so 25% in equal increments in months 10, 11, and 12. So in the case of the 1,000, you would get $800 total, $600 upfront upon that policy issuing, $200 on the back end in months 10, 11, and 12. Okay. Now, I would tell you that on average, we see people really looking at doing about 5,000 a week in their submitted applications. So, about 20,000 on the month. And then, of course, we're looking to make sure that those get placed and issued. So you can start to do the math and realize, at that 80% contract level, you're getting paid really well. But my goal is I want you to get those higher contract levels because you're getting paid more money for the same amount of work. Okay. Now, training and resources. This is one of my favorite conversations because oftentimes, if you're getting your license, you want to know that you have people that are in your corner, and you and I have not met before, right? And so there's a trust that needs to be established. It's really important that you and I have a rapport where you feel comfortable and you feel safe coming to me along with your other mentorship team to be able to ask questions and get the direction of where do I go for this resource, right? And so here's just a couple training and resources that we do within the Safavi agency, okay? When you are enrolled in your course and you're actually going through that course, you're going to be added to a support text thread. So it's going to be myself and three others that are here to just kind of support you and help you with any questions that come up as you're going through the course and as you're taking your exam and as you get hired on. We do have weekly agency huddles that you can participate in, especially while you're getting your license. I want you to be associating as much as possible. You are more than welcome to come into our virtual office again from the start of your course. And then, obviously once you're hired, but that virtual office is going to be a space where you can listen to people live dial. You can ask questions. You're going to see bells in the chat when people book appointments. It's a place where you are going to find that culture and that community, and it's huge. We also have office hours every single week for role playing and asking questions. We have our new agent activation every single Thursday. HQ, you'll see on the left-hand side of this slide, that Basecamp. HQ actually has a really, really good step-by-step onboarding system that's going to give you scripts. It's going to help you prepare to dial. It's going to help you with preparing for your appointments. It's huge. And then we also have a sales mastery course that we recommend that one of our equity partners actually put together, and it's brilliant. So a lot of different training and resources for you. And then last but not least, I just do want to touch on leads because it is something that as a licensed broker, I get asked about all the time as, different IMOs do things differently. So we do have different types of leads that we have available within Symmetry, okay? They are all TCPA compliant, so that's really important to know. That these people have actually requested information, right? It's not like going and looking through, the white pages or something. When I have you get started, I'm going to have you start on analog mortgage protection leads. Those are going to be leads that people have, they've purchased a home, they've refinanced, they get a letter in the mail, they fill it out, send it in to us or call in, and then we call and we see how we can serve them to make sure that their home is protected in the event of death or disability, okay? Then outside of that, we also have digital leads. And those are going to be like, think about if you've ever been on social media or YouTube and you've seen ads come up for life insurance. When people fill that out, it comes to us in the form of a digital lead. Now, we do invest in our leads. It is something that I was actually really excited about because prior to coming into the life insurance space, I was in a different sales role and I actually had to find all of my leads on my own, and it was exhausting. And I spent all of my time looking for people rather than just having people to talk to. And so time is money, and I love the fact that I can invest in leads and spend my time dialing and taking care of family. So we do have those available for you. Now, are they mandatory? Absolutely not, but I highly, highly recommend them. I also highly recommend that you talk with your family and friends and that you do utilize social media to be able to educate people on what you do so that you can serve those that are in your network. So I am going to go ahead and stop my share and kind of just end with this. If this resonated with you as you're looking at our company, you're looking at our culture, you're looking at the idea of becoming a licensed broker, I would love to continue the conversation. And so go ahead and book that appointment with me. I hope that you jotted down some notes, that you jotted down some questions. When we get on that call together, I would love to be able to answer those for you. And I'd love to be able to just spend some time getting to know you. So look forward to it. Hope you have a great evening and cannot wait to connect. Thanks so much.